perspective, he's been very good on that champion. I think he had a couple of good games on it over the last couple of matches that they played. Lilia continuing to get targeted here. The jungle pool really affected overall here in this series. However, it does mean that Yorick finally goes through, and Ben is able to lock it in, undefeated on this champion in the last 3 games that he's played on.
Yeah, happy Ben. His Yorick has been quite good. BLG plays around this champ well as he can reach critical mass on the side lane and kind of go from there. So curious to see what the answer is for solo kill. We have seen a couple of different options into the Yorick. Can go for Renekton, try and get that early strength and push him around, or outside of that, could go for something that impacts the map a little bit more, because frankly, you don't win that 1v1 for very long against Yorick.
The matchup that Solo Kill opted into in the past was the Scion, but he played it in that last game, which means it'll be unavailable for this decider. MF here for Leave. Not something that can provide a ton of, you know, flashy plays or things like that, but team fighting is certainly going to be the name of the game for NIP, given that there is a Yorick on the other side, and that it's further accentuated by that Maokai likely going towards Aki.
I do like Maokai. I think that later in drafts in the jungle, this can be big. However, this does open up potential for Sejuani Yone. If BLG wants to slam something, I think that Yone ability to attack could be real. Also, Maokai showing that's enough for a Sylas for Knight, and Knight Sylas, it has been brilliant as always and of late. Yeah, likely to pair that up with the Sejuani too.
Typically see the Yone with the Sejuani, but Sylas a very similarly good case. You can stack up those auto attacks, stack up that armor cross very nicely with the empowered ones that you get on your passive. The spin to wins here for the Sylas, going to be paired up alongside Beichuan very well, as we have rounded out our first rotation here in this draft for BLG. Full top sides locked in for them, as there's the Renekton that you were talking about, can dash in and out of that W, can do some early game damage, and can overall have a good time in this one.
All right, well, how many champs is Doinb going to lose out on access to? As, of course, that Sylas is showing. No mid laner showing yet for Doinb. Doinb has played a lot of champions so far this split, as always. I think that we're going to probably see a Corki ban come out of BLG here, as I got to believe that Doinb might be looking for an AD champ. And, of course, Lucian already taken off the board. Corki would be the only other AD champ he's played outside of Yone and Lucian, who is banned as well. I'm not even going to count the Lee Sin, Grapes. We're just going to...
Nope. I mean, if it happens, like, that just all of a sudden turns into all we talk about in the first 5 minutes of the game, so we might as well save it for now. Leave it up.
If it happens, I'm disappointed. Because you get absolutely fisted by Yorick later on if you're Lee Sin, so, you know, it's fine.
But think about the content, though. Doinb locking in Lee Sin in Game 3 against BLG, I mean, amazing. We got some good notes here for Alk Battery, who tweeted this fact out right before we got into game number 3. The last time Doinb beat Knight in a singular game of League of Legends was back in 22 Spring Split. And to go back to the last time that Doinb beat Knight in a series, not just a game, was in 2021 Spring when he was still on FPX. The 22 game was when he was playing on LNG Esports alongside Tarzan and Light. So that was a wild roster from a long time ago. So it has been a bit of time since this result has happened.
It has, as the 2 artillery mages kind of being taken away here for BLG, of course. Play a champ that I think Doinb's actually looked quite good on the few games that we have seen his way. I know he's only played 1 so far this split, but definitely was a good look for him. And, oh boy, you can play this in the Sylas.
Oh, there we go. We got the preview in the 1v1. And now we got Doinb Kled in game 3 against Ninjas in Pyjamas.
For better or worse.
It means that Aki's going to have to index into some more magic damage. Otherwise, the Sejuani will be very unkillable. However, I think overall, you're very happy about this here. As Doinb gets one of his signature champions, I'm just very excited to see it come through.
For better or worse, Doinb is Doinb. I like the BLG draft much better in this game. I think it's a lot more balanced. Zyra later on is going to be quite nice. But there is a chance for MFRL to push them around in the early stages of this game. And now we're just going to have to see what Doinb can do on the Kled into the Sylas. Of course, you called it out to lose that 1v1 into the Yorick, as that was our 1v1 match, Kled and the Yorick. But chance for Doinb to do it here, as I gotta believe, like, okay, I don't see how they play the game out later on in the side lane. This is all about the first couple of levels, and I get a little bit concerned because I just don't think that Maokai is kind of able to follow up or play around this one very well. So it kind of is Renekton Kled having to bridge into the rest, and again, the late game is really poor here for NIP. So for me, all their cards are stacked in that early game deck, and we'll see if they can hit what they need in order to cash out.
Yeah, the more that I look at it, the less the less I like the Kled pick.
I'm not a fan of it at all. It's not good. Yeah.
But it's Doinb, and so we have to always leave it at that. The way that you probably play these team fights out is you send the Nature's Grasp in, and then you just charge forward at the same time, and you hope something good happens with the initial engage. It is very telegraphed though, and so BLG, if they can play around it and utilize their maybe better scaling composition. I think Elk's gonna have a great time on the Xayah specifically in this one, being able to weave out of a lot of crowd control that NIP can throw at him. That is gonna be a little bit dangerous here for Ninjas in Pyjamas, but they got the hype factor. They got the Doinb magic potentially on their side, as he's gonna try to win his first game against Knight in 4 years.
The Doinb physical, it's Kled, not no magic damage
yes,
here.
Yes,
he's gonna try and brute force it down. We'll see what Doinb can do.
They're very equally matched here on the Gyos here. I believe we are in Shenzhen, which is the home of NIP. So a little bit of added support here as they're looking to pull off a huge upset against Bilibili Gaming to hand them their first loss in the second round robin. And again, it would not be something that we were expecting coming in, but given how they looked in that last game, Cubby, I mean, you never really can say never. That was a dominant performance that we just watched.
I think
you have beef with the robot too right here, because it says NIP are 52% favorite.
Does it say NIP is favored late game? That robot needs to be canceled. I don't know
Powered
what else
off.
to say. Yeah, we gotta power it off.
Uh-oh. Doinb gets knocked up early. Not a great sign here. He does not get dismounted. Will be able to walk back to lane, but he's not gonna have time to base. As we see Knight picking up, I think that's 700 total games here in the LPL. Again,
congrats.
All the top 9 still actively playing, as we were alluding to a little bit earlier on in the stream. And so another milestone hit for one of our best players that we currently have in the league.
Does kind of hurt for Doinb. Of course, did burn the Q and now won't have access to those bear traps for a little bit. It's going to need some autos onto the Silas in order to clean things up. And again, Leave and ppgod, the MF has a lot of early strength. Of course, Xayah can go up in the air to escape the bullet times, but the Make It Rain can be really nice to buy some space against Xayah later on. Definitely have to be worrisome of the double ups into strength. Because, oh boy, good flash from Leave.
Flash on Elk. They know that this Xayah can be vulnerable early, with ppgod having 2 procs of that W. Forces Elk to use both summoner spells as the Ignite was cleansed away from. So nicely done for NIP to get that bot lane prio. As we see this bot lane stat here, collected by Kelsey. Doinb, 76% win rate on this Kled, but the last time he played it was 3 years ago.
Well, to be fair to Doinb, he's got to turn the clocks back to find a series win here against Knight, as he hasn't toppled him in a series since 2021, so maybe digging deep and playing a signature Kled again. I see Doinb Kled, I think of Rogue Warriors, and if you can remember that, that's a real throwback. As Aki,
like when Rift Rivals was where he really made his name, right? So
yep.
Gonna turn back that clock, as you say. However, Bin could be in some trouble on the top side, as Aki's made his first move after completing just his 3 first camps. On to Bin they go. The slice and dice comes out. Oh, what happened down mid lane? Oh my gosh, we're gonna need to get a replay on that, as NIP pick up their first 2 kills in both solo lanes.
They did spot Beichuan on the invade too, so Aki should be able to get a camp or 2 away. We'll have to survive the dive bot potentially here for NIP as Beichuan's looking.
This is a must-need dive here on this bottom side. On lands to knock up onto 2, but a teleport comes in from Solo Kill. This dive must be completed quickly, but it will not happen. Leave gets the kill, and now Solo Kill has arrived and maybe try to finish off another one. It's disaster for Bilibili Gaming in this 3rd game.
Should be the MF and the Rel going to the top lane. We need replays. How did this happen mid? Doinb the counter pick.
It's a tower.
Knight. He caught a tower shot. Doinb.
It's another tower shot.
Knight. No, Knight. What are we doing? Oh, Knight. We've been playing so damn good this split. Catching 2 tower shots. Not what you want. As Knight throws the Kingslayer into Doinb and Kingslays himself, as he ends up falling at the hands of the Kled. That's really big for NIP again. All the chips for me in the early game pile. NIP needs to be able to make this early game work, and that gank top was a good one, but man, Doinb finding the solo kill, that really is potentially a dagger into BLG, because they can really get things going here now, NIP, and you can see the collapse coming in on the mid lane, as Doinb going to look for some help and look to make use of this Kled.
Oh god, he got bailed out so hard, Cubby. He was not gonna win that laning phase otherwise. He'd take this tower shots from Knight. Oh my goodness. This is just a Doinb magic that we were saying. As now BLG gonna try to finally get back on the board. They find that kill on to leave after the lane swap was initiated by Ninjas and Pyjamas. So they get something back and they get a kill on to Bin.
That's really big. Bin gets double buffs, gets a kill. ppgod wasn't connected with Leave, and Flash was Bin. Throws a wall that traps him against the permanent wall. And Summoner's Rift. Really, really well played by Bin. Again, showing some of his mastery on the Yorick. And showing why they were willing to first pick this one in this draft.
So it's a start. And again, the side laning here for BLG is going to be probably much better, given that the Yorick is on this team once we get later on in the game. But right now, NIP, they do have the early game comp. They're trying their best to utilize that. And you know, they were given a bit of a gift here across a couple of these side lanes off the failed dive and then off the solo kill. But BLG able to get some stuff back here.
Yeah, they were originally given a gift, but honestly, the real gift was Leave falling. I look at the experience between Elk and Leave.
Yeah.
Almost a full level difference. That's really significant early on. And again, Bin with these double buffs was able to get the Phage and come back to the lane. He's going to be able to actually absorb this. So I think that the 1v2 scenario, because Bin has the double buffs, was actually kind of able to cheat his way out of a tough spot of the game. And when it comes to the York Renekton matchup, after especially he got first blooded up top, and because the bot lane is still bottom for BLG, they have numbers around this dragon. That's Stolen Nature's Grass. That should be enough. Aki, be careful here, buddy. Yeah, this is a dangerous one.
Throws that out there and forces NIP to back away. So early Ocean Drake picked up for Bilibili, and that's going to be very nice for them. Again, NIP with this early game composition would have liked to be able to stack a soul early, but not going to happen this time around.
Again, just really don't see a way that NIP wins this game going later on. As Kled is...
The computer thinks so, though, again.
Kled's a one-directional champion. That's fine. You know what? Honestly, keep the bot going here, because this is the best argument that I have against AI so far, or whatever's going into this algorithm. Elk, oh boy.
We hit a yellow star there. That was tough.
Yeah, that Q was, you know, thrown perpendicular to where it wanted to be, which is not exactly the best strategy. And again, if these plays don't connect early on for NIP, it is BLG favored. Knight should get tanky enough where he's really tough to take down once you get past this 2-item mark, what we expect to be the Roa Riftmaker Silas build. And then, of course, Xayah being able to go airborne later on going to be very valuable. NIP and Aki trying to take this one away is spotted out.
He flashes away, going to be able to escape, but won't be able to finish off that red buff.
See if they try a lot of wasted time. He's going to keep that one leashed
for
Beichuan.
Yeah, that's a good guy. If I was playing AD carry, totally would have taken that win. Oh man, guys, sorry, I had to take it. Just Lucky would have been able to steal it.
I'm preventing the enemy team from getting it, guys. That's always the go-to line.
Exactly. I mean, I would have said that.
Oh,
look at that little.
Well played. Yeah, bottom right of our screen. Grapes and I both locked in. We caught that one. Doinb able to buffer the ultimate of the Sejuani with an ultimate of his own. Not bad. As currently things also not bad for Bin up top. Yorick almost getting the work on that second plate. Is up against solo kill. Almost a full level 2 off the swaps that BLG were able to find, which is really hurting for NIP now, because these grubs, you got to imagine this is going to go over the hands of BLG. Aki doesn't have access to 6 yet. Does need to take the red buff before he gets it.
Just the one grub. As Aki and NIP finally do arrive here to this one. Doinb does not have that charge, as you said, but has teleport alongside Knight on the bot side if any fight were to go super chaotically. But
I gotta
say, instead it's BLG rotating back mid.
I don't even know what happened to really get the lead to the top side for BLG. I don't know if I missed it or there's just a replay. But Beichuan up a full level, Bin up a half level, and a good chunk of CS in their favor too.
I think
this is a dangerous one.
Right? They ended up going their way. As here comes another engage. ppgod landing that knockup onto On, and Leave does a ton of damage with those love taps. Able to chunk On out to less than 200 HP, but the re-engage is big from BLG. They get the kill on a ppgod, but here comes the bullet time. He's going to try to knock down the Xayah, but the Xayah will go down to Aki on the backside of things instead, as the Bramble Smash will pick him up too. And now Leave is able to survive as Aki will rejoin the fight. Solo kill with the dominance, flashing in, going to take Beichuan down. Ninjas in Pyjamas finding another kill in the mid lane skirmish. And they go 6 for 2 overall in this game to start things off.
Yeah, flash for flash trade bot. Doinb almost found another solo kill, and Aki actually played that one out really well. I was pleasantly surprised. Some of these Bramble Smashes got some serious value in the fight, Grapes. I think it was a difference in making sure that Aki was able to survive, helped NIP win out on that elongated skirmish, and those grubs, again, only one was taken by BLG, so opportunity to look again. We'll say Elk being down his ult. That one lasts a while. As we get another look, I was a little bit concerned on the start here for Aki, but they got a good chunk onto On, who wasn't 6 yet. So he's kind of forced out of the fight. After this, ppgod's the focus, but keep your eyes on Aki. Again, able to step up, finds a Bramble Smash. Good bullet time here as Aki actually decides to go onto Elk. The auto from Leave was enough to get a twofer on the Bramble Smash as he then helps Leave kite his way out of this one. Well played skirmish, actually, from Aki here.
Yeah, and then able to finish this one off on a Beichuan, too. Solo kill coming in, picking that one up. I think overall 3 for 1 on that fight around the top side. However, it does mean that BLG are able to rotate back up here, take all 3 of those grubs. The first time we've seen all 3 of them go over to one team. And it does go to the team with the Yorick, so that's always a little bit frightening if you are Ninjas in Pyjamas. And gonna be even more frightening here as Elk, On, and Beichuan contribute to that kill on a solo kill and could allow for Bin and the rest of BLG to pick up a ton of damage onto this tower.
Yeah, that's 3 grubs and a lot of focus. Likely to be first brick as it's only Doinb on the bot side. Likely going to just be the Dragon taken and traded out by NIP, but it is a trade up in favor of BLG as they secure that first tower for themselves.
So we're very close to that feat of strength picked up for BLG instead of NIP. Just one more major objective across the map, and that will be there despite the kills going over. But now another skirmish here in the mid lane. Leave flashes away, but is able to get that bullet timeout. Chunks Knight down to half and make sure that BLG are unable to find a kill on that exchange.
Yeah, but I mean, they can still maybe find the Dragon afterwards. I think that's why we have the TP out from Bin. You can see BLG just sprinting towards this objective. Might look for the contest. They get the bad news. It's taken. Can they get out now as the ult comes down?
Here comes that charge, and Doinb's going to lock in on a Beichuan. He flashes away underneath his tower, make sure that Doinb takes a lot of damage in response. Permafrost comes out. This could be the turnaround that BLG do need. What a great crash down comes through from ppgod. Still on the way back in the storm, though. Is able to help ppgod go down. And now Knight finds the Abscondum Duck, and Doinb will fall. It's a double kill for Bin, but solo kill is eviscerating the back line. Another kill goes the way of Leave, and it's again Ninjas in Pyjamas to come out on top.
Solo kill ends up being huge in the back half on this Renekton as, it's going to continue.
Going for more. They find the stun. It's in onto Bin, but Leave will guy on the backside, and it's going to be another double kill picked up for the Yorick. So Ninjas in Pyjamas going a little bit too far forward, and that forces NIP and Aki specifically to run away.
Aki's dead too. He's out of ward, so BLG knows Aki can't even get the trade kill as Bin hits him with the shovel. Ends up being 10,000 total kills for BLG as a team. That's a random one, not even a team stat, or a team stat. That's interesting. Congrats to BLG as an org on reaching 10,000 kills in the LPL, but Bin, oh my god, dropping the shovels on NIP here, now moving to 6-1-1. That was an unwarranted redive from NIP, and as we look at the fight again, this one was chaotic. I thought with no bullet time, NIP and Leave might be in trouble. I really like how Leave positioned on the back half of this fight, using the wall to stay safe. Aki with that ultimate too bought a lot of time, but it was all solo kill, really buying the time in the space. Again, the Renekton this point of the game gets involved, pretty much one-shots Elk with the combo. That for me was the difference maker and helping NIP be ahead at the moment. But this redive, take a second look at this, is the chain CC just doesn't connect onto Bin. Aki has to drop that aggro too fast. That flash from Bin to take down MF was very sound, as they get 2 freebies and just not enough health in the tank for NIP to even attempt that dive. Gets traded out by BLG and Bin.
Yeah, I mean, very aggressive. They must have thought that On already headed back to base if they wanted to even think about going for a play like that. And even then, Bin was able to heal up very nicely with, you know, the shovel smashes and the like. Now he's 6-1-1 on this Yorick, which has become a bit of a signature champion for him, at least so far in the second round robin. And speaking of, with Beichuan back here, this is certainly solo kill going down, and BLG have found their footing here in this game 3.
Didn't even pop the ultimate, can't blame him. Now Aki caught.
So the kill, it should certainly be the charge coming forward though. Aki buys a lot of time, and now it's up to Doinb to try to take down Knight and On in a
Can't do it.
support mid 2v2. He's waiting for Leaf to arrive. The bullet time has come out. On has to flash away. Doinb does not remount as Skarl is just too late to the play. Beichuan comes in with that Glacial Prison, and now it is Bilibili Gaming who are back with multiple kills of their own. They're going to try to set this one up onto Elk, donate it over to the Xayah, but he's not able to get there quick enough, and it will mean that Beichuan collects the gold.
I think that just might be the doom of NIP2, because again, they really get outscaled in this game as the plays, the kills, it didn't connect on the bot side. Doinb was trying to reset. I know Knight went down to the fight, but he played that skirmish out beautifully. Grapes, as again, that stolen away nature's grasp was really what made sure that the fight started with a one-shot for Knight, and then was able to find Doinb before he got the remount in the back half, solidified the fight being in BLG's favor.
Yeah, and it looked really good for NIP at multiple points in that first 10 minutes or so, but ever since then, BLG really controlling the map. They picked up, I think, an extended 4 kills off of that play or plays in both the mid and the bot lane.
Ooh.
And now the Rift Herald they go.
Knight actually went for the Rocket Belt, so not the Roa in this game. We'll say that it does diminish the scaling a little bit for BLG, but I do not think it matters, especially given that Leave did go for the Yomus, so a little bit more stock put into that bullet time. And the abilities of MF rather than the auto attacks, where the Xayah is going to be winning out. And we're going to get a replay as, again, the pinch onto Aki. This Maokai could not move. Doinb came in to try and save it.
He dismounts due to the turret before he even gets there.
Yeah, the Maokai ult too. He caught it even though he was going unstoppable, so didn't get over the wall. That was a little bit unfortunate. And then Knight just plays this one out beautifully, as that Q forces the flash from Doinb. And then Knight going back in, deciding, you know what, I might go down, but I'm going to make sure that the Pled doesn't remount, goes down. And again, that Q was placed perfectly as the Q2 almost popped Leave. Kill credit did go over to Beichuan, but a very well played skirmish out of Knight, who, again, his Silas, it's a terror. He put up a highlight reel the last time he got his hands on it against WE, as those later fights really saved what was almost a throw from BLG as a team, and played that fight wonderfully for Knight there.
Now you look, it was NIP that was ahead a lot here in this game 3, but now BLG have come all the way back. 3,000 gold in their advantage. They have that first dragon horse in their hands, even though NIP were able to pick up the second. And we'll see if they want to contest the third. Knight has teleport. He's around the top side of the map right now, as it is Aki to start this one up.
Beichuan going to see if he can get in there. Looks like he dashed up. Okay, it's going to be a give. They're going to give this one away. They're going to play for the turret. A TP coming out from Doinb to go top. As Herald's drop will be the mid outer secured. We'll see if BLG actually wants to rotate the try and support this push on the top side, or if they just want to keep on pushing here in mid.
I mean, why not? Just keep going for this when you have the Herald. Get another charge off. It was 12 HP as it crashed. Very lucky situation there for Bilibili Gaming. That's going to be a little bit easier now to allow for that tier 2 mid lane to fall.
Look at the top lane difference here. As Solo Kill is going to go for a play, but the item difference between him and Bin is so big. Stridebreaker can't find the slow onto Elk, so that attempted play doesn't connect, and the push just continues for BLG as Bin going to start making work of this bot side. And keep in mind, it's 3 grubs on the BLG too. So, yeah, Bin's going to make quick work of this turret.
Yeah, NIP are being ran around the map.
He is so big.
Yeah, look at that. 3.2 thousand gold in their advantage at 18 minutes. Remember, in that last game that we saw Leave pop off on the Zeri, he ended the game 5,000 gold up, and we're not even close to being like at a situation where the gold is really ridiculous at this point for Bin, and he's already at such a tremendous game state. Look at this. 2 full items at 18 minutes. He's almost a full item ahead of Solo Kill.
And what's he get on this base? He's still sitting in base. Okay, we're not going to find out here. We're going to find something else. But yeah, again, Bin, reason that they're first picking this Yorick, and it really does feel like it's just a pick where Bin, kind of like his Jax of old, just gets to hit critical mass on the side lane and can't be dealt with.
And he's going to just head right back down to the bottom side with the Maiden in hand. It's so hard for anybody on NIP to stop him, so instead they're looking for other areas that they can exploit wherever this Yorick is not. But remember, now that this Yorick has fully been unlocked in terms of split pushing, every time NIP go for a play, they will be on a timer, because as soon as things go slightly awry, or as soon as they are a little bit overextended, it's going to be Bin pushing on the other side of the map with these ghouls, with this Maiden, and that inhibitor could be very, very gone very, very soon.
The walls are kind of closing in here for NIP again in a game where they do get pretty monumentally outscaled. Have secured quite a bit of heal cut on their side to try and deal with the York and deal with the healing that can come in from both him and Knight. It's Knight going for the Riftmaker second, so just no Rod of Ages to start. Rocket Belt's going to make sure that he's a little bit more aggressive. As still full control for BLG, and frankly, I don't see a way that NIP gets back into this one. I just really feel like with the Renekton, with the Kled solo lane, you got to be able to hit your spike early, and NIP, I mean, once you kind of get behind, it just doesn't get better with this draft or with this comp. So we'll see if they can really break the trend, but I feel like this game was kind of really grim after that second dragon fight or a couple of the plays we had early on, Grapes. And you can really see that it feels like the momentum, the playmaking from NIP, they really can't get things going in their favor, just kind of have to catch and try and survive and hold on against BLG in a game where they get outscaled by what BLG is doing too. So it's looking pretty grim here for NIP.
I know, I mean, we saw them play the map really well in that game too, but not the same here this time around as Lee pops the cleanse early and still gets knocked up, and Beichuan to pick up the kill underneath the tier 2, which has already gone down. ppgod going in for the engage, but there's just no more juice left on this NIP composition. It is a 2-0 as the tier 2 falls, and Bilibili Gaming looking poised to close this series out.
You know, I gotta say, when I saw the JD Gaming sponsored bot that appeared before this game started that said that NIP have a 52% chance to win that game, all my hopes were riding on that, Grapes. I can't believe that it's not the case.
Hey, we're going to find a pick here. Knight thought there was a wolf camp. There was not. And so a shutdown goes the way of solo kill. First of many steps for a comeback, as the trade will be the Otacon up in the top side.
There's not going to be a comeback at this one. This one's all over. As, again, BLG going to wrap up the Otacon. I think they've outscaled by this point. And respectable series here for NIP, Grapes, in a way. I think that game 2 was a really good look from start to finish, but the series did really feel like whoever got that lead first, they were stronger. And the latter 2 games for NIP, I mean, they've kept it bloody. Thinking of games 1 and 3, the games they're likely to drop in this series, but even throughout the blood, the messiness, it really feels like they haven't been able to find an advantage. Like, even game 1, it was a 2k gold difference at one point, but it really felt like BLG were the team ahead. Doing a better job of playing neutrals and what their comp has, and frankly drafting a lot safer team compositions than what NIP has.
And now they're going to go for the throat. Here goes Knight teleporting in, looking for another re-engage, gets away from the Nature's Grasp, but no ultimate popped here for On, or I should say he used the quickness, but it did not find a charm. So just some zoning to force some cooldowns off of Ninja's Pyjamas before this next dragon comes unavailable. Remember, NIP have gotten 2 out of the first 3, which means that they have no position for a soul to be selected here for Bilibili. So if you are an IP, you should be comfortable just giving this one up. ppgod, though, was looking for the engage. He gets ulted here by Beichuan. He flashes on out and will survive, but here comes a teleport from Doinb, and it is not a good location. He's going to flash in on a Knight, try to find some sort of play. This could be the game here as the bullet time stolen away from Knight, not going to find too much. The health bars are very low on Ninja's Pyjamas side, so they have to back on out. And if you're BLG, you're happy about that because that means you can head right back and pick up this dragon.
Again, just no chance for NIP, who, if they're missing their ultimates, it's already hard to play out fights at this point in the first place. No ults, no chance here as BLG just trade around some health, take away the big tools from NIP, and are able to secure this dragon on their own for free. So denying soul point, evening up the score, and again, a game that it feels like is out of reach already for NIP.
We're going full Season 8 mode. Full Rogue Warriors mode for Doinb. This is like a build I have not seen in years, maybe. The Titanic into Black Cleaver combo was something we saw from like Jarvan tops and the Kleds and the Renektons back in Season 8. I have some good memories of playing back then, and so does Doinb on this Kled mid. However, doesn't look like history's going to repeat itself too well as NIP in a very dire spot. ppgod getting ulted here and getting taken down by Knight. Here goes a big engage here from On as well, and it's a double kill picked up for the Silas, and now Ninja Pyjamas are maybe trying to bounce back a little bit. Knight does go down, solo kill, able to finally pick up something, but he falls on the back end of things. But Doinb has remounted, and the health bars are very low here for BLG. They could try to maybe find something on a someone, but there will be no blood shed as BLG will get out with most of their lives.
I mean, that was a full casted bullet time in the choke, and that's what it took for a fight to even look close for NIP. So BLG is still able to clean up. Elk is the one putting out more DPS in these fights outside of the bullet time, and the lead for BLG just going to be too big, I think, for NIP to overcome in this game. Still Grapes. So, again, And keep your eyes on Leave. Like, he finds a full bullet time. This thing is in the choke, comboed with Aki. This does a lot of damage across the board. On finds the cancel to make sure he doesn't one-shot anyone. But still, like, despite that, yes, Knight goes down, but he trades out for Leave. Elk did burn his flash, so that is something they can look to target in the next fight. Is a nice cleanse from Elk, ensures that he doesn't go down to the hands of Solo Kill, who might have been able to get an empowered Q off if the stun does connect, and no autos come through from Elk, so I feel like that was warranted. Oh, I lied. Actually, not a cleanse. The good Mikhail's from On.
Mikhail's, yeah.
Yeah, to get him out of that. So, again, well played, but still, like, these fights, it's full dive into Xayah, and it just doesn't feel like we're even close as NIP. Like, again, that fight is as close as it got, but look at how many things had to go NIP's way to even make it look close.
Yeah, it would have been a great fight if they weren't 7,000 gold behind. I'll say that much here. As Solo Kill getting chunked out, but the bullet time from Leave is doing a lot of damage on the bin. Re-engage comes through from ppgod, and with BLG separated, it's Leave picking up a massive shutdown onto the Yorick. It's a 1-for-1 as Aki falls, but Doinb coming through the Hex Gates was looking maybe for another re-engage. It's these slow, methodical fights, these slow picks for NIP that could maybe get them back into this one, but there's still so much more to gain.
I actually really would have liked to Doinb just kind of ripped it there. Knight, he has TP now, but wouldn't have had it if Doinb ripped it immediately once he connected with that portal. But I guess they don't want to go into Elk, who I feel like he does have ult, but he's sunless at the moment, so it might have been one of the better opportunities to find him. And it will just be BLG regrouping around this Baron. Bin has TP, but this Baron's getting ripped down. Doinb trying to get his team in there.
No shot, this gets stolen away. It's secured by Beichuan, but can Ninja Pyjamas do anything in this fight? Knight going forward. He is massive right now on that Silas, and it's Lee picking up one, but that's all he shall receive. Skirmish Duck lands on a solo kill, and there's no more hope for NIP. On Baron, and the delayed ace picked up here. Only solo kill is alive as he finally drops Aki, their lone survivor here in the base of Ninja Pyjamas, as they send a TP up on the top side.
I mean, that play bot, yes, Bin fell, but Aki was low enough where by the time the Baron was down, I mean, Aki was in base. The tracking there from BLG, good enough to get themselves that free Baron, and that just might spell the game.
There's 8 seconds on ppgod. Doinb spawns in 15, but the Baron up wave and a dead Aki's not going to help. Bilibili Gaming drop game 2, but they're looking to finish the job here in game number 3 off of Knight Silas. A brilliant performance from Bin as Bilibili Gaming, if they can finish off this Nexus, they will jump up to 6-0 in the second round robin. Lee finds another kill, but it's not going to matter at all. The Nexus falls, and it's a 2-1 victory for Bilibili.
I mean, Beichuan Gaming feels pretty good for this crew, as since Beichuan's come in 6-0 in terms of series score. And I know that NIP put together a really nice game, too. I think they did a good job of winning that one from start to finish, but this comp, it ran out of gas, and NIP ran out of gas in this series as BLG continues to really emerge as a clear top 4 team. And I know a fan hopeful and maybe representing the LPL internationally, given the past success that 4 out of the 5 members on this roster have had on that international stage. And we'll see if Beichuan can continue to play well domestically and earn that first international appearance for himself.
And with that win, BLG, they jump up to 10-5 overall in the standings. That is a very good spot for where they are at right now. Their magic number now at 2 to clinch a spot in that top 4. They need either 2 more wins or JDG losses, I believe, as we continue on, or IG losses at this point to clinch their spot in that top 4 to get themselves an automatic trip to the postseason. And overall, they're feeling very good about how their season has turned around with the addition of Beichuan, their new jungler.
The team just feels reinvigorated. Knight has been fantastic all year, frankly. He continues to be really big, but I gotta say, it feels like Yorick definitely a takeaway from Bin for a reason. If he's willing to first pick it and play it like that, that Yorick felt pretty tough to deal with. And again, we did see Bin have a few moments or at least get caught out in a couple moments in games 1 and 2, so I think Yorick uniquely a champ where you definitely need to send at times 3 or more to deal with him. What's Bin kind of play like that and get away with a little bit more. And again, he's a player talented enough where if he gets away with a little bit, he can turn it into a lot. Definitely seen him do that on the Yorick, which has become a favorite pick of his and has started to be quite successful once him and BLG have figured out how to play it.
Yeah, he's played in each of their last 4 series now. Obviously just once per series as we're in that fearless format, but he's won every single one of those games.
Oh.
And so being on this new pick, it's been working out very, very nicely here for BLG as they continue to ride what is either a honeymoon or, you know, just maybe some good play overall. It's starting to look a little bit more than a honeymoon. It's looking like this marriage is starting to really show.
You know what? Early on in the relationship, you know, you can sometimes overlook some of those problems that have not festered quite yet. It looks good with Beichuan as things are all sweet and dreamy here for BLG. So again, 6-0 since they made the swap. Grapes, and things look good.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of match score as well, that's now 9 straight victories for them. You know, actually, no, I'm not even going to say that because NIP just took a game, so I take it completely back. But they looked good in the win, specifically here in game number 3. As for Ninjas in Pyjamas, dropping down to 4-10, their windows to crawling out of that bottom 2 spot becomes much harder.
I think they're,
with every loss that they take.
For sure,
but
after that.
They're still, yeah, they're definitely like in that range where top 4 is not possible most likely, but now even the chances of them like jumping up to 6th where they would be able to play against a team like LGD or EDG first, you know, maybe starting to come out of play. They have looked better, and I think at this point, now that their record is kind of in the position that it is, it's a lot more about, you know, finding quality wins, finding opportunities to grow as a squad before, of course, they get to that inevitable one best of 5 to determine if they go to the postseason or not.
Yeah, shout out to Leave, who did his best to deal some boom damage. I think it was a decent series for Leave today, but just not enough gas in the tank for NIP. Is once this comp fell behind a little bit early, it's so tough to come back and bounce back into the likes of York and Silas. I frankly really don't hope we see the Kled again. I just don't think Kled's playable in this meta. I'm sorry, Doinb. I know you got solo kill because Knight took 2 tower shots in lane. Yeah. It's fine. Besides that, it wasn't a very effective pick, as the few times that we did see that ult used was BLG able to turn things around and NIP unable to make the fast plays connect.
Remember how good this game looked 4 minutes in for NIP when they picked up 3 random kills?
It was 3-1, yeah.
It was nice for a bit, and then these fights ended up happening where Bin coming and joining the team on the split pushing York. I mean, he was able to side lane enough to generate income, and then was able to really put himself in good positions here. On this reattempt of a dive, got so much, and this is what really, like, honestly, like, at this point, the game was pretty
it was grim after this. Bin played this one out really well. Props to On, who did find the knockup on the Leave and enabled the flash shovel to the face of the MF as solo kill falls to the turret. And I will say, I think the one positive, if I'm a BLG fan, that I can really take away from this is I do feel like On and Beichuan played better as a duo in this series compared to what we saw or have seen from BLG in the first few series. I know that game 2 was very one-sided. I think that was mostly off of just not tracking Aki. Got a really good gank off bot, and that game was snowballed really nicely from Leave and ppgod. But I do think we saw some moments where On and Beichuan were more connected, actually played off each other decently well. I do think that that's been one aspect of the new roster that I was looking for more improvement in. Saw some of that in this series today. So if you're a BLG fan, I think that's a bonus positive you can take home, as of course they take home a good 2-1 victory.
Yeah, and now for them, it's a couple more series to wrap up their regular season. They are in a very solid position to clinch an automatic berth to playoffs, although if they like lose out and IG wins out, like there's still definitely the possibility for things to go awry. JDG, Top Esports, and IG are the next 3 series here, Cubby, and those are tough opponents, but I think with the way that BLG is playing right now, no better test to see what the squad really looks like going into the playoffs.
I think still some questions. Like overall, it's been more of a positive with the swamp, of course, coming in. I still think you can take some positives away from solo kill. I know it was a bin diff in game 3, but this team for sure feels better with solo kill in Grapes. And again, 4-10 may not be indicative of the strength that we have at NIP going in, especially just looking at, I mean, right now in the standings, right, Weibo's gone ice cold. So I'd take NIP over Weibo in a series if we do have that matchup coming up here, Grapes. So again, play-ins could prove to be interesting as we move throughout our format.
Yeah, I mean, thankfully for Weibo, they've already had to get past NIP, but it didn't go well for them. It was a win for them in the kickoff of the second round robin, I believe, for Ninjas in Pyjamas. 2-0 in their favor. Their remaining matches, in 2 days, they face off against Anyone's Legends. Then it is IG, JDG, and then they wrap it up with Thunder Talk, which could be a potential first-round playoff matchup if things continue to go well here for NIP. That was going to be their hope, try to lock up that 7th or 6th seed to get a chance to play against a potentially weaker opponent in the play-in stage. here's our MVP. It's going to be on the Rakan.
Okay.
I'd say
I
honestly,
thought
very well done, very well deserved.
Yeah, I thought On had a really nice Rakan game. Again, always been a pretty solid Rakan player is On. So good to see him pick that one up. Again, I think that On has actually quietly, again, been better as a support in this split. Been a little bit more consistency out of him. And I think that as he adapts to playing with Beichuan. For me, look, I thought the two of them worked better and played better together today than what I've seen in a couple series prior. So I think that's the big positive, the big takeaway I can take home for BLG. Because again, the form that Knight's in right now with Bin playing a little bit better, BLG always a scary team when those two are on form. And if the pieces around them can perform better, I think we definitely saw that today as Elk had that big game 1, On had that big game 3, and Beichuan showing a little bit more connection with his team throughout. So I think it's a lot of positives you can take away if you're BLG. And even NIP in the 1-2 loss, who continue to look competitive when they can be, as that game 2 was rather one-sided in their favor. So not a bad series from each of our teams here today.
Yeah, I think NIP proving that they can contest some of the best teams in the LPL, even if they haven't been able to convert on a full series against either Top Esports or BLG, taking games off of both of them, definitely respectable and things to keep an eye out for. And for BLG, you know, you got the job done. You got another win under your belt. That's 6-0 with Beichuan on the team as they continue their rise through Group Ascend. But that's going to do it for our coverage of this first matchup. But we got a really exciting one for you coming up next. When we return from this break, it's going to be JD Gaming up against IG. You're not going to want to miss it, so don't go anywhere.